Is it a sin to marry outside one's race? Yes, of course it is. Happily, in every jurisdiction that I'm aware of, it's not even legally possible to marry outside one's race. Though there certainly are some arguing that such should be legal. Even the gay, quote, marriage movement, by and large, disdains this notion. The Bible is abundantly clear that marriage is only for those of the human race. And to extend the institution beyond that is wrong. Within the circle of humanity, God does provide a number of other prohibitions with respect to marriage. For instance, according to the Bible, marriage is one man and one woman. See Matthew 19:4 and 5. Marriage is only between either two believers or two unbelievers. See 2 Corinthians 6:14. Leviticus 18 gives us the laws of consanguinity, affirming that we may not marry those who are too close kin. The Bible forbids marrying those who've been illegitimately divorced, Matthew 19:9. But the only other biblical prohibition I'm aware of is the one that one cannot divorce, marry another spouse, and then after a second divorce or the death of the second spouse, remarry the first. Deuteronomy 24:4. Does the Bible forbid marrying outside one's culture, one's skin color, one's nation? By no means. Deuteronomy 21:11 through 14 gives explicit warrant for a Jewish man to take a wife from among the women of a conquered nation. Though not as compelling, we in turn have biblical examples of godly men who married outside their national identity. Moses and his Cushite wife, Numbers 12:1, and of course Boaz and the Moabitess Ruth. There have been in the past fine and godly men who have argued otherwise. There are likely some fine and godly men who would still so argue. The Bible, however, despite the level of detail to which it does go on whom we may marry or whom we may not marry, does not so argue. The ancient creeds of the Church make no such argument. The great confessional statements of the Reformation make no such argument. Some have argued that my own position is grounded in worldliness. Those outside the church are always seeking to break down barriers, to deconstruct cultures. Miscegenation, my critics would argue, plays right into the hands of the political and theological left. I would offer two retorts. First, a healthy understanding of the antithesis of the great battle between the seed of the serpent and the seed of the woman doesn't mean we are to be reactionary, that we're to embrace the opposite of what the world embraces always and everywhere. We aren't called to walking on our hands because the unbelievers walk on their feet. Because those outside the kingdom of God retain the remnants of the image of God, well, we should expect to agree with them from time to time. Second, even a cursory glance of the literature demonstrates that it's actually those who argue against marrying outside one's culture that were most influenced by worldly wisdom. Darwin's theory of evolution created a paradigm by which even Christians began to judge one, quote, race as genetically superior to another. It is true enough that some cultures are better than others. What makes one culture superior, however, isn't genetics, but the impact of the Christian faith. Low levels of melanin didn't build Europe. The gospel did. Matching levels of melanin in turn won't make a godly marriage. The gospel will. Away with legalism that adds to God's perfect law.